All right. Hey there, tree huggers and tree lovers. This is Suzanne, and we're here with 100 for Trees. We're doing a double dose today. It's so awesome. We have Giles Tayler all the way from the United Kingdom. So he is balancing work life and making this happen for us, even though there's such a big time difference. So we're going to bring him on in just a minute. Before that, I'm going to make sure my tech is working over here on because I usually have Joey helping me, like I said, and so whenever there we go. Okay, we're good. All right, so 100 for trees. So this is where this was born from me wanting to do something for trees. I love trees. I've always loved trees, and people began to tell me, "Well, you're just one person. What can one person do?" And I thought one person can make a difference, and so I began to have this vision of running. And so, what I do is I run 100 miles every single month and I raise awareness and funds to plant trees. We did this all of last year, every single month, and we're on track to do it again this year. We'll be starting, we did our run for January. We'll be starting it again in February pretty soon. Y'all have to excuse me. I get kind of excited right before the interviews and I notice how fast I'm talking right now. So I'll try to slow it down. Um, we have a guest today, and this is somebody that I've been following for a while because he has such an interesting way of sharing. He consistently shares. I mean, this man's consistent, y'all, on social media. I found him through Facebook. He consistently shares information on trees and plants and flowers. And he lives in this beautiful part of the UK. And he just walks around and he films himself like, hey, this is a blah 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 plant. Did you know it does? And he has this great, from a business standpoint, I loved his style and his systemization of how he did it and how he does it. But then the Suzanne tree lover inside loved that he was sharing information about plants and just educating people. So reached out to him. He's a real nice guy, a really cool person. We chatted a few times, asked him if he wanted to come on. He was like, yeah. So we have Green Enthusiast today, all the way from the UK, Giles Tayler, and we're going to bring him to the stage right now. All right, Giles, can you hear us okay?
Hey, how you doing, Suzanne? Yeah, I certainly can. How are you?
Awesome. Oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Oh, listen to that
Good, good.
accent, y'all. Us in the US, we love British accents.
You'll have to excuse me. It looks a bit dingy and dark. It's 7:30 at night here, and I've just brought my kids to football practice. So I'm sat in the car, but it's 2024. We can sit in the car and chat over the Atlantic. It's superb. We love it. We
That's
love it.
right. And you're being dad. That's awesome.
You
I
being
think
dad.
he's got one of his kids in the back even listening. So this
I
is
have.
great.
There's
Uh-huh.
Finley, if you can see him.
So this is how we do it, y'all. This is great. Okay, great. So Giles, I found you on Facebook. So I don't know if you just kind of want to share with everyone real quick who you are, maybe kind of what you do,
Yep.
and lead us into how you started sharing so much about plant life on Facebook.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. So I'm Giles. I'm 51 years old, believe it or not. It's crazy. Time flies, doesn't it? And I live in Cheshire, which is a county in England. If you picture the UK, just where Wales joins to England at the top, that's basically where I am. I live in a small village surrounded by fields and countryside and trees and what have you. And I've pretty much always lived around there. And I've always absolutely loved wildlife and plants and just getting out in nature. I did a course called Countryside Related Studies back in 1995. And it wasn't a dead end course, but it was a kind of something and nothing course. You didn't get very much from it to actually get a job unless you went into pretty much farming, which I didn't really want to do. But it was immense for learning about trees and things like that. And I've just kind of continued to learn about trees and plants and things like that. And it's interesting because the more you teach people, the more you learn, and the more you learn, certainly for me, when it comes to things like that, the more I just absolutely love it. So it's probably 18 months ago, I started doing these reels about trees and plants, and there was a bit of a reason for doing it. It wasn't just to educate people. I've got a sideline business which I'll touch on in a bit, and it was to actually find more people who were interested in the sideline business that I've got, and so that potentially I could make some money from this sideline business online. But what's actually happened is I so enjoy making these reels about wildlife that even if I was never going to make any money, I would still do these reels because they're just so much fun to do. And I love the people that reach out to me and say, oh, I didn't know about that. That was such a useful bit of information. And Suzanne's been one of my biggest supporters. She's absolutely superb. And just, I guess because she loves trees as well. And that's where, that's where I'm from. So it's a sort of a thing, isn't it? Where we've got things in common. So we support each other, which is really, really nice. And I'm a big believer. I don't know if you guys have heard of the law of attraction. If you haven't, then you should certainly look into it. But basically, like attracts like. So your thoughts actually create things. So if you've got positive thoughts about trees, and I'm going to attract people into my life who also like trees, then people who like trees show up in your life. And here we are talking to people who like trees. So it definitely works. But I learned about the law of attraction to start with about 4 years ago. And so I heard that you could manifest things. So manifesting is making things come into your life that weren't there before. And how do you do that? Just from your thoughts. And I thought, well, that sounds a bit random and a bit radical, but let's give it a go. Well, I'll tell you what I want. I want some more money. Let's give me some more money. And I think I actually stood outside. I want more money. Give me more money. And the very next day, I got a check through the post that I wasn't expecting from my dad for £1,000. And at that point, I thought, wow, I like this a lot. So another little thing that happened, just to sort of solidify that the law of attraction kind of does work, I've been doing a lot of sort of work on the law of attraction. And I have a thing that I always used to be late for everything. I was late for everything, always. But I've worked on myself to get myself on time. So when I go to work, I've got a sort of 25-minute commute, something like that, to work. And when I get to work, if I'm on time, it's 7:15. And I'd started being always on time. Anyway, this one particular day, I left about 5 minutes late, and I was like, oh, I'm late. So it doesn't matter. I'm always on time. Law of attraction's working. I'm always on time. And as I got into the town where I work, Chester, it's a very small city in the UK. There was a roundabout, and there was a car just stopped on the roundabout in my way. And I was like, why you stopped? Get out of my way. I'm always on time. It's ridiculous. And I got to the next roundabout, and there was another car stopped in the way. I was like, what? Get out of my way. I'm always on time. Get out of my way. And I looked down at my clock after I'd got another sort of 2 or 3 minutes to get to work. And I looked down at my clock. Would have been early if it hadn't been for those cars. And what happened was I went over the threshold of my work as the clock went from 7:14 to 7:15, because I'm not early. I'm always on time. And those cars have been put there to make sure I was on time. So law of attraction works. I absolutely love the law of attraction. And if you're not a fan of the law of attraction or don't know what it is, then do some reading. I'm sure Suzanne, she's nodding as if to say, I know the law of attraction. She can give you some books to read. There's loads out there, podcasts, all sorts. And Instagram is full of the law of attraction. So, yeah. So with regard to the trees, I absolutely love trees. I'm going to tell you a couple of things that I do apart from my reels, which I like doing. You can learn. It's generally native UK trees that I do, and plants. It's not just trees, but it's plants as well. Every now and then I'll do sort of a bumblebee or a butterfly, something like that. But I just use my phone. I haven't got a sort of Gucci camera or anything, so I don't tend to do birds because they're a bit more difficult to capture. But one thing that I do every single day, I use an app called Tree App. So it is, as it sounds, Tree App. And they plant a tree for you every single day. You just click through a number of adverts and a tree gets planted for you. And then if you click on the adverts and buy from one of those, whatever they are, companies, then they will plant another tree for you. So you can plant, and they give you the odd free tree every 7. If you do a 7-day streak, they give you an extra one for free. So you're planting best part of 400 trees per year just for about 15 seconds a day, which to me is like, let's just do it. And the other thing that I do is my search engine is a search engine that's called Ecosia, which is ECOSIA, and they're not for profit. They're as good as Google. They're absolutely 100% as good as Google, but they're not for profit. Rather than getting loads of money, they plant loads of trees. And just last week, they hit a massive milestone, which was they planted 200 million trees since they started, and to me that is insane. And it's really super cool. So when you search with them, you get a little sort of tree icon in the top corner. It tells you how many trees you've planted personally. So you just it just puts a smile on your face. So yeah, so those are two things, two little tips for you. If you like trees and you want to plant more trees and you think the world needs more trees, which I definitely do, there's two little things that you can do. So Sam's just put my Facebook profile on. That's me, Giles Tayler. Look at the spelling of Taylor with an E, not an O. I don't think there's. I think there's just me that's Giles Tayler on Facebook. So have a look and find me, and please follow me. That'd be appreciated. So I'm going to talk briefly about the business that I run, if that's all right with you, Suzanne. You okay? Is that cool? So basically, I work for a company. They're actually it's a company based in the United States, and I sell products through them effectively. We do nutrition, skincare, makeup, and personal care, but everything is plant-based, which is why, as you can see, I like them. But also they're B Corporation certified, which you might not know what B Corporation is, but B Corporation is the highest ethical standard that a company can get to. There are only just over 5,000 companies worldwide that have achieved B Corporation standard, and there are about 100,000 companies that apply for it annually. So the company that I work for, they are B Corporation certified. They got that certification 3 years ago, I think. Maybe it's 4 actually. Anyway, but their products are all plant-based and they're all scientifically tested. So the nutrition that I use on a daily basis makes me feel fantastic because it all focuses on gut health. And if your gut is healthy, then the rest of you is healthy. Now, the one thing that I haven't told you guys is that I'm actually, my day job, if you like, which is a day and night job, I'm a paramedic. So I pick up people who've been in car crashes or are acutely unwell. But a lot of the illnesses that people are suffering with can actually be avoided by looking after your gut health. So that's why another reason that I really like this company is actually it's sort of prevention rather than cure. Being a paramedic is cure after the event, but the company I'm with is prevention rather than cure. Prevention is always better than cure, isn't it? So yeah, so that's a bit about me. Have you got any questions for me, Suzanne?
Oh, about 1 million. That's great, man. Thank you so much for explaining that. Yeah, let's okay, so real quick, I love how you said earlier, even if I wasn't making any money at this, I'd still be doing these reels.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, y'all, he's very consistent. He and several other people I've had as guests on here have all of them are very consistent. They've inspired me to actually be more consistent and to follow through. Can you give us, just real quick before we move on to the next thing, can you give us a couple of little tips that keep you consistent? Because a lot of people have, when they see all the platforms, they have a tendency to get overwhelmed.
Yes.
Or they just use they let the platforms use them instead of using the platforms.
Yeah.
What would you say to that person? Maybe a couple of tips or just a thought pattern to that.
So
yeah.
I think the first thing is just start. Whatever you want to do, just start. Excuse me. So it's really overwhelming sometimes. You get to a point where you're like, I need to do this, but I don't know how to do it. So you end up not doing it, which is no good. There's a saying. I hope there's no kids on because I'm going to swear. There is a saying which is you got to be shit before you can be a hit. So which is completely right. You've got to start, and when you start, you won't be brilliant, but you're better than the person who's not doing anything. So just start, and then gradually, if you keep doing it and you keep making yourself do it, it becomes a habit. And a habit is something that you have to do. So for me, the reels, I get twitchy if I don't upload a reel every day. I mean, I'm not even exaggerating. I haven't uploaded one today, and I'm a bit twitchy because I'm well aware that it's now 7:45 at night, and by the time I get round to uploading one, it's probably going to be more like 9:30 at night, and maybe that's a bit too late. So maybe I'll leave it till tomorrow. And there's a large part of me that is not happy about that at all. So it becomes a habit. To make it a habit, and if you could think, I mean, I work 12-hour shifts, either days or nights. So my time when I can actually upload reels is very limited. If you're just doing a 9 to 5 job, you've got from when you finish at 5, okay, got to get home. By then it's 6, and you got to cook your tea for the kids and take the kids to clubs and blah 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 blah. But there's loads of time. There just is, because it doesn't take very long. So you just have to start doing it and then make it a priority. It doesn't mean that you have to not do the other things that you do. Maybe the soap opera that you normally watch, you don't watch that anymore. Well, is that a bad thing? I'm going to say it's not. If you want to do something on social media, then do that thing on social media and forget that soap opera. It doesn't matter. But that's all I've done. I don't watch telly anymore. Very, very, very rarely watch telly, because my business is my priority. And then not watching telly becomes a habit. So now if I'm sitting watching telly, I'm a bit twitchy. I'm like, this is not what I do. I don't do this. This isn't right. But there's loads of other tips. So when you've got to start. And I started growing 18 months ago, I'm going to say, something like that. I had a reasonable following on Facebook, but on TikTok, which is the platform which is growing the quickest for me at the moment, I had 25 followers, just 25, and they're not followers, they're just friends, if you know what I mean. So I've grown from 25 in 18 months to something over 1,700. And that is just from being consistent, day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out. And then another thing is that people get confused. Well, what do I put on my stories and what do I put on the posts? Don't even think about it. Don't worry about it. Doesn't matter. Nobody cares. Nobody's looking at it. Why is that on a story? They don't do that. They don't do that. Nobody does that. And if they do, who cares? Do you want to be friends with them? Probably not. So just don't overthink it. If people hate you, they hated you anyway. And if people like you, well, that's a win. So just do it and just be consistent on it. Don't overthink it. Upload that reel that you think that I don't like that. I have done that wrong. I've done that right. Just upload it. Just do it. And then it's done. And it's gone. And in 3 days' time, you'll have forgotten about that reel that you didn't like that and you didn't like that. But you won't make those mistakes on your next ones. So, and it's a journey. You grow and you learn and you learn and you grow and you grow and you learn and you learn and you grow. My reels aren't perfect. They're nowhere near perfect, but they're a lot better than they were when I started. So, yeah. Another really good tip, if you're going to use reels, I use a what do you call it? An app called CapCut, which is really good for altering your reels and putting things together and just making things work and putting captions on there and things like that. It's really, really good. It takes a little bit of fathoming out when you first start, but honestly, it's free. You can get an advanced professional upgrade if you like. I think it's like probably $50 a year or something. But when you first start, you don't need to do that. It's pretty much free. I've upgraded now because I'll tell you why. Because a lot of the time it's windy when I'm outside and I'm doing my reels and I'm talking. You can't hear my voice because of the wind. So there's a little bit that's in the professional thing where it gets rid of that and just focuses on the voice. Well, that's brilliant for me. So that's what I've done. But yeah, there's little things like that. There's other little tips. You can if you Google how to become better at making reels, or search it in YouTube or whatever, there's loads and loads and loads of tips. There's loads of growth tips. So one little tip that I've got for TikTok users, if you're not in the United States, which I'm guessing most people probably are, but if you're not, then a little tip is get yourself a United States SIM card for your phone, because TikTok reads your SIM card and it knows where you live. So it pushes out your reels in your country, no other countries, or very few other countries. And the United States is the biggest, they're the biggest subscribers to TikTok, and they buy the most stuff online as well. So you want to be in the United States. So get yourself a United States SIM card, stick it in an old burner phone or whatever, and upload your TikToks from that phone. And lo and behold, it all goes out to the States. I haven't done that yet because my SIM card arrived yesterday, I think. So I think I'm due a phone upgrade. I think I'm going to upgrade my phone and put that SIM card in this phone. You don't need to, you don't have to go on the network or anything like that. You just do it through Wi-Fi, but it'll upload and TikTok will go, oh, States, and you're in the States. So there's lots of little tips like that about. And if you just pick one little one, even if it's one a week, and just grow a little bit at a time, then you're growing lots and you'll smash it. Just got to keep going. Be consistent. And there is a little tip. Sometimes you'll feel like you're treading water. You're not going anywhere. You're just doing the do and nothing's happening. And it can become really, really, really frustrating if you let it. But how do you not let it? And the answer is just know that you're going in the right direction, and keep showing up and keep going in the right direction, and you will get to your destination. If you were to walk from one side of the States to the other side of the States, would you be able to see the other side of the States when you set off? No. But you'd be able to see 200 yards in front of you, and you just head for that 200 yards, and then the next one comes along. And that's the way to do it. Just focus on the next 200 yards. Where are you going next? There. And over time, you'll get to where you want to be. Guaranteed, 100%.
I love that. That's so encouraging, Giles. I love how you tied in that law of attraction right into it, because that's actually how you think and how you do things. And
Yes.
and y'all, if you're listening to him, he's obviously, oh, I have a few dogs here. You may hear him barking. There's several things that he's balancing. And so he's figuring out a little bit here that adds up. Time after time, it adds up. And I hope that's the message that y'all are hearing. Plus the little tidbits of tips that he's dropping in there, especially if you're out of the United States and running a business. That's a great tip that you had on that SIM card. Thank you so much for that, Giles.
Pleasure.
I would love to. So I loved your law of attraction, and I want to ask you kind of a unique question. So you're a paramedic, and you also love plants and trees. Whenever you are in the medical profession, you're doing your day job, as you call it, do you feel, because I'm noticing this theme of health, because also with your, here, we're going to put it up here. Here's the link real quick, guys, if y'all want to reach out to him in his other business. There's the link down there. So all of these things are about life, and there's a lot of healing that you're talking about. What do you, when you're in that paramedic job, and you're seeing a large percentage of the population that maybe hasn't embraced quite that law of attraction and the power of your thoughts, and how that creates physicality in your reality, what do you see whenever you're there, knowing what you know of this kind of more esoteric side? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I think what you're asking is, how does it make me feel, in as much as, do I struggle dealing with people who need to be healthier, need to embrace what I've embraced and aren't? Yeah. I just have to put it to one side, really. I can talk to some people about it. Some people are open to listening about certain things, and a lot of other people aren't. When it comes to business, I'm in a real sticky wicket. I can't talk about my products to my punters, if you like, because that's a no-no, and I'll be out of a job very quickly. And I'm not in the position where I want to be out of a job just yet. So I do talk to people about, improving their health. I mean, maybe it's just something simple like stopping smoking. I talk to them about that sort of thing. I talk to them about what they eat. I talk to them about exercise. But some people are just like, I don't need to know that. And other people do embrace it, and that's really nice. And to me, being a paramedic and selling these products to people is about helping people. That's what I do. I love helping people. It's just a great feeling to help people. So yeah, it's a funny one, because sometimes they're not interested. And it's like, well, can't make them. And, I'm not going to waste my breath talking to them about it if they're really not interested. But sometimes, a lot of the time, it's with mental health people, to be perfectly honest, and people having a mental breakdown. Maybe they've taken an overdose or something, or maybe they've just thought about it and they've reached out for some help. And it's just talking to them about their physical health linking into their mental health, and also linking into getting out in nature and, being amongst the trees and the plants. But also, I'm a big believer that if you're suffering mentally for whatever reason, one of the biggest things that you can do is actually volunteer to do something to help people or the planet. So actually, to give a morning once a month to go and plant a load of trees is such a smiley, happy experience. I mean, you're out in nature to start with, you're taking exercise number two, and you're with a load of other people who are all benefiting from this thing. So I have given people that sort of advice as well. But again, a lot of people, they don't join the dots, and they don't see that that's actually a really, really positive thing. By giving something, you're getting loads back. And you can't make them see it. You plant the seed, but if it doesn't grow itself, never mind.
Right. That's so interesting, the spectrum that you're across, going from wanting to heal, really, and help. And I love that. I love that you said you want to help. There's this vibration of people who come on the show that I think resonates just a little bit higher, in this higher frequency, because they've chosen that, and there seems to be a common theme, and you're putting it together in your words very well. we had Haley Joy on yesterday, and she put it into words very eloquently too. It's about raising that vibration, and thereby everything around you, it kind of fans from there, as
Yeah,
nature works too, with the root system
absolutely.
and the fungi and the sky, and all of it is connected into an ecosystem. We had Michelle on earlier. She was talking about the ecosystem. And so it's very interesting that it all ties into that. And you're on such a broad spectrum, Giles. I mean, you really are. You're from people over here who possibly, don't even want to listen, aren't ready to hear it.
Yep.
And then you've got this, collective energy that's raising in the world, I believe. And you're on that side where you're trying to foster that and help
Yep.
people to see that. And it's also benefiting you at the same time, because it should be a positive feedback loop in that way.
Yes. 100%. 100%. Yeah.
Yes.
That's the way it works, isn't it? Absolutely.
Yes. Absolutely. That law of attraction again. Yeah. Yeah. That positive energy.
Yeah.
So Giles, here, kind of towards, I want to be cognizant of your time, and I so appreciate you coming on here late tonight and balancing it with everything that you're doing. Guys, if that's not an example of just living it and really taking the action, which is beautiful. I love how you pointed that out too. Take the action. It doesn't matter if you're afraid. Just take it. And if you need to be inspired, go check out Giles's Facebook page. I mean, really, he just consistently shows up. He's not, even if he is afraid, you wouldn't know. He's just in there doing it, and he's learning.
Put a smile on your face. If you're going to do a reel or something put a smile on your face. Just smile. Because it's really difficult to be low vibe if you're smiling. Try. I don't feel great. It doesn't work, does it? You smile and you're happy, and everyone's like, "Wow, look at this smiley person." So just smile. Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. So, Giles, you are the Green Enthusiast, so I know this is going to be a great answer. We ask everybody on the show. Unfortunately, we forgot to ask Michelle, so we'll have to do a post later about that. She's already sent how she would answer this question. But if you were to be a tree, Giles, what kind of tree would you pick to be?
Well, I think I would be a mighty oak tree, because they live for thousands of years. They're big, solid things. The statistics are that they support something, don't quote me, but something in the region of 260, 270 different species of insect. They've been used when they get chopped down or they die or whatever. It's very, very rare that they don't get used again and again and again, which is all sort of recycling, which is all the planet. I mean, I did a bit of research on this, and oak trees historically were made to make boats. And I know for a fact that where I was growing up, there was a fence, which was old wood. And there was an old boy who lived up the road, and I said, "Oh, it's a great old fence that is. It's absolutely, amazing to look at." And he went, "That was made from a warship." So it had been a tree, then it had been a boat, and then it had been a fence. So it just gives. And I think they're majestic and beautiful, and I absolutely love them.
I'm 100% with you on that. We have some old oaks here, and right before I moved here, I came from 167 acres in Texas, where we have mostly pines, and we have some oaks, but not really old oaks, because unfortunately they clear cut them at one point.
Right.
But here they have the old oaks, and yes, the Navy is actually stationed out of here too. There's and they use them for building boats, actually. So that's a really cool. That's really cool that you knew that story. But I love the oak. I think that's a great tree too. I'm glad that you picked that one. Giles, do you have any parting tips? And you have given us so many, but do you have any other parting tips or anything you'd like to say?
I'll tell you the only thing that I want to say, Suzanne. So I've touched on my business, and I want to just elaborate on that slightly. So the link that is there is just to some energy drinks. They're clean energy, made from plants, all really super cool, as I said before. But there is a business opportunity, and I know there's a few business opportunities around. But I just want to share this for everybody. My vision, and maybe yours as well, Suzanne, is that I want people to join my business so that they can get for time and financial freedom, because it's my opinion that the way that we can make a difference to this planet, a massive positive difference, is by having the finances to do it. Yes. We can all do our recycling. We can all turn our TVs off. We can all drive electric vehicles. It's a drop in the ocean. But if we've got a lot of money, then we can make a massive splash in the ocean. So I want people to join my business so that we can all make a massive splash in the ocean. I want an army of environmentalists to go about planting trees, cleaning up trash in the ocean, doing all that sort of business, making the planet a much better place. That's my dream. That's my vision. And that's what's going to happen. But if you want to join me, whoever you are, then reach out and let's have fun and do it together.
Oh, I love that attitude. I love that. And did y'all hear that? Let's have fun doing it together.
100%.
Yes. He's still, it's that passion. It's that passion. You know, the stories that he's telling, they all involve nature and his passion for trees and loving nature and taking walks. And he's still doing it and he's using it to share. So this is the power of passion as well. And as he's doing this, I know the universe is going to continuously reward you, Giles. You guys go check him out. Go see his reels, obviously. Reach out to him. He's a real friendly guy. He's so easy to get to know.
I'll talk to anybody. I'll talk to anybody.
and he says literally, like literally. I mean, how awesome is that? You get to hear him say literally. Did I do that well? Was that good?
That's brilliant.
You guys, brilliant. All of us here in the US wish we had a British accent. No, not all of us, but a lot of us do. So, Giles, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time, even amidst your daddy business and balancing it all. I really want to thank you for what you do in the world, both as a paramedic, as an entrepreneur, owning your own business, and serving. I want to thank you for that and making the time to come on here.
Well, thank you, Suzanne, for having me. It's been my absolute pleasure. I very much hope that we can do it again at some point.
Yes.
You know, not next week, obviously, but 6-12 months time, whenever it is, just reach out because I absolutely love my time with you. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Giles. We appreciate it. So guys, that was Giles. I hope that y'all enjoyed it as much as I did. He's, like I said, super friendly guy. Just reach out to him, doing some really good things on the planet. At the very least, go check out his page and go heart and comment some of his stuff because he's really fun. It infuses you, just as his products do. They infuse you with energy. He infuses you whenever he's out there just having a great time. And that's how I actually got to know him. I just started checking him out. I was like, this guy's just really cool and he's happy and he's sharing information. And he's in a beautiful setting. And he's shared a couple of tips, marketing tips of how we can all do that. So I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to check him out and check out 100 for Trees. We've got a website. Go in there, check it out sometime. You can send me an email. You can hop on the Facebook page, which is facebook.com. What is your 100, the name 100, and just reach out. I hope you check out his, we also have a YouTube channel, 100 for Trees, where his interview will be as well as everyone else's. And I hope you go send him some love, and with the law of attraction, you get love back. So tree huggers and tree lovers, thank you so much for joining us today. We will check you next time. Go hug a tree today. I guarantee you your day will get better if you go hug a tree. Thanks, y'all.